24 घंटे के अंदर हमारे देश में 2 ओमिक्रॉन वेरिएंट के केस हमारे इस नेटवर्क के द्वारा डिटेक्ट किए गए हैं कर्नाटक में।
We have already discussed with our experts. Supposing if it comes, what should be done? And all
Okay.
those things. So we are prepared.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Shivani Gupta. Thanks a lot for staying with us. We are getting you the latest as is building up as far as the Omicron variant finally being detected in India. Now, it was always supposed to be a matter of time, but now it is official. The first 2 cases of Omicron COVID variant have now been detected in India. The Health Ministry has confirmed that 2 cases have been detected in Karnataka itself. According to government sources, one of the patients is a 66-year-old man with a history of travel to South Africa. The other is 46-year-old male health worker with no travel history. One is fully vaccinated, the other is partially vaccinated. The positive news is that both the patients are stable with mild symptoms. Let's also get you a check of what various branches of the government are doing. While there is no need to panic, there is heightened activity amongst various arms of the central government, apart from state governments that are doing their best to continue to test and track at airports especially. So here is where we stand. Earlier today, the Prime Minister Modi also held a meeting and he was briefed about this situation as well. As far as the MEA is concerned, it has said again categorically that as it stands, there are no plans to stop international flights. Only surveillance will be increased, especially at those entry points. The Health Ministry has said that variant being carefully examined and further decisions on the basis of it will be taken. But they have also come out and said that as far as we know right now, there are no severe symptoms associated with this new variant. But let's also get you more of what's coming in from Karnataka, where the first 2 cases have come from.
So 2 confirmed cases of Omicron, both reported from Bengaluru. What can you tell us about the details of these cases?
We have one case which is a 66-year-old male who has traveled from South Africa.
Okay.
And there is another case who is a 46-year-old male but who has no travel history.
A 66-year-old is an Indian national, South African, which one?
He is a South African national.
Is he in Bangalore?
No, he subsequently was tested negative and he left.
Any of his contacts who have tested positive?
Yes, there are more than 240 contacts who have been tested and all have been tested negative.
Okay. And the second case, you're saying there's no travel history, then where could have he got infected from?
I am not able to say that.
Okay.
And there also we have tested more than 200 contacts, and of the contacts some have been tested positive.
Any symptoms of these the positive cases, any symptoms that we are seeing in them?
No, they are clinically stable.
Okay.
There is nothing odd or unusual.
And the second case has tested negative already, or is he still under treatment, isolation?
He is under isolation.
Well, the good news still continues to be that absolutely none of those who have been detected with the Omicron variant are in any real medical worry, and even the contacts who have tested positive are also clinically stable, as you heard the City Commissioner there, Gaurav Gupta, speaking to my colleague. Let me also go across to our guest now joining us. Dilip Mavalankar, epidemiologist and director at IIPHG, is joining us. Also, Dr. Anita Ramesh, senior medical oncologist, Apollo Specialty Hospitals in Chennai. Let me go across to Dilip ji first up. You know, what we know so far is that out of these 2 individuals, the cases are not related. And one of these patients who is a male health worker has actually no travel history. Do you find that concerning, that someone who doesn't have any recent travel history, especially to these countries, has also been detected with Omicron?
Yeah, I think, but first thing I must acknowledge that our country has identified the cases, one with travel history and one without travel history. So the person without travel history indicates that they are other cases in the community and probably other patients, because it's a healthcare worker, and who are very mild, and from them they have got this infection. So it may be possible that there are more cases which are of mild type or asymptomatic type. And what that indicates is the virus is already there in circulation in some parts, at least in Karnataka, where this one non-travel person has been detected. Second positive thing is that at least 200 contacts have been traced and they have been all negative. So the chance we were thinking that it is highly spreading, at least in the first travel case, doesn't seem to be there. Of course, they all need to be quarantined because tests are only 70% sensitive. There may be still cases which may not be detected even though tests may be negative.
You know, can I highlight one more thing, Dr. Anita? Another thing I found quite interesting is in the details that the BBMP commissioner has also given us is that one of those positive patients had come to India, and by the time we detected that he had Omicron, he has already tested negative and flown to another country. So what do we make of that? Do we make that the infection comes and goes very quickly? How can you test negative so quickly?
See, it may not be that the genomic testing has been done, because see, you can test positive or negative. So positive testing means you are infected by the COVID virus in the RT-PCR, but it does not say with what strain you are infected. You can be infected by Delta, Alpha, Beta, or even the Omicron. But you need to do a genomic testing, which takes 48 to 96 hours for the report to be released. Depending upon how your genes are placed in that genomic material, you can say what variant it is.
No, I understand that. But do you find it interesting that this individual very quickly tested negative again? And actually flew out of India also?
Yes, so it can be, see, there are many things into it. It depends upon which lab have you done the test, what is the validity of the test, okay, how frequently have you done. It may be with the natural history of the virus, you have got the infection and you are out of the infection, many things. It is too early with one anecdotal case to make a comment regarding the positivity and the negativity of the viral testing. And many issues are involved in that. So I understand it's a question which can give us to clue, but one individual with one test should not misguide us. We need to wait for more data to tell us when it can be positive, when it can be negative. Okay, what is the false positive rate? What is the false negative rate? And then authentically we will be able to say anything.
Let me go back to Dilipji as well once again. You know, for the benefit of our viewers, I want you to enumerate what we know about the Omicron variant so far, because we don't want people to panic. We don't want them to feel that no matter what they do, the virus will eventually come to them, because there are ways to keep yourself safe. But before I get to that, tell us what we know about this variant so far and why there is no need to panic.
Yeah. So I think the first thing is that this virus was detected in South Africa and picked up about early November. What we know is that it has been quite rapidly spreading throughout South Africa. It has replaced the Delta variant which was there in South Africa. The case rates or daily cases have jumped from less than 200 a day in South Africa to almost 8,000 yesterday. So very rapid spreading virus. Second thing we know is the genetic analysis shows that there are more than 50 mutations. Normally in a variant, there are 10, 15 mutations at most. So this has many, many more mutations, and several of them, almost 30 mutations, are on the spike protein, which changes its characteristics of how it will infect and attach to the cells. Fortunate part is that so far we don't have any indication that it causes severe disease. Most of the cases in South Africa have been mild as of now. There are few cases which are a little bit moderate, but apparently no death has happened from this. And both the cases in India are also mild. In other countries, it has spread to more than 20 countries. So what it also shows that most of the travelers have double vaccination, only then they are allowed to travel. So it does infect people with double vaccination. So there may be possibility of what is called as immune escape in terms of infection, but it is still not causing serious disease. Of course, this is a little bit early to surmise that, because serious disease will happen after 15-20 days, and especially when it affects the older community. Currently in South Africa, most of the cases are in the younger and middle age people. So we have to wait till 15 more days to see how it really affects the morbidity and mortality.
Okay.
So of course it is a cause of alert, but it is not a cause to panic.
Yeah. Dr. Anita, I also want to ask you that so far most of these cases have been studied in South Africa, for example, and while cases are also coming in certain other countries, it's still fairly new in India. But I want to understand from you that when it comes to a virus or a virus mutation, can the impact be different from race to race?
Yeah, it can be. See, we had seen virus undergoing mutation earlier also. We had seen 5 waves also earlier. Yes, even in the present wave, when we finished the second pandemic and the world was getting into the third pandemic, India did not get into pandemic. India had endemic situation. Endemic means there were cases. We had 6,000 to 10,000 daily positive cases. We had deaths between 2 to 400, and it's constantly there for a couple of weeks, as you know, starting from Dussehra, Diwali, all it continued till now, endemic. So virus did behave differently in US, European country, and differently in India. So yes, virus spread it behaves differently with races. Also, it behaves differently with different mutation. See, it does not mean that once you have a genetic material change or a mutation has happened, it is bad. Some mutations are causing mild infection. Some does not cause anything asymptomatic. It just spreads. Some causes moderate, some causes severe. That's why the WHO has labeled this as variant of interest, VOI, and VOC, variant of concern. So that means, yes, we have to be alert, but we need to wait and see what the mutation does. Okay, how far it is, khatarnak means how far it is very badly affecting individual. So that's it. So we do not know how this mutation is going to affect human being. Yes, it may act differently. The symptoms may be also different from the typical coronavirus symptoms. We saw in Delta there were GI infections, whereas in the usually the original corona had more upper respiratory tract. So we don't know whether systems will affect differently, the races will affect differently. And also one more thing I want to tell, India looks like has got into somewhat herd immunity.
No, but they're now saying that herd immunity will differ according to different variants.
Yes.
We don't know.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. That's what I want to tell you. Herd immunity might have developed against the Delta virus and the original corona. Might not have developed for the
Omicron variant.
Which is coming here.
Dilipji, I have a minute left. I'll ask you one last final question. And it was what Dr. Anita has already touched upon. What facets of India's stage as far as dealing with COVID is concerned make you more hopeful that India is better placed than possibly some other countries, especially the West, Europe and US, where they continue to see massive wave after massive wave. They're in their, some countries are in their 3rd or 4th and some in 5th waves of coronavirus, and each is as bad as the previous one. So what makes you hopeful of the Indian situation?
Yeah, I think one of the things we must realize that we had a very severe wave of Delta in April, May. And by June, July, about 66% of Indians, including 55% of children, had developed antibodies. So we had a high level of antibodies already. And then on top of that, we have now crossed more than 110 crore vaccination overall. So we have fair amount of immunity, and that is why in many states, you see like Gujarat, there are 40 cases, in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, UP, there are less than 100 cases. So all that indicates that lot of immunity, in spite of the festivals, we didn't get much affected or increase in cases. Of course, this is a new variant, so we have to be cautious and see and very carefully control the variant. It's in its entry and in its spread. And given our background level of immunity, I feel that we may not have a very massive increase in number of cases, even if this variant comes.
All right. On that note, let me thank both of our guests for joining us and explaining in more detail. The bottom line continues to be that you have to be careful. Your safety is in your hands. If you wear a mask, maintain social distancing and continue to sanitize your hands especially, then you will be much safer. And of course, go get your vaccine doses. If you've got one, the second is as necessary. On that note, let me also cut across to Smriti Irani, currently speaking at the News 18 Chaupal Summit.
स्थापित करना, संवाद स्थापित करने का वो एक बैठक का एक संवैधानिक सिलसिला है, लेकिन सोनिया जी के पास किसी कारणवश वक्त नहीं था अपने संसदीय क्षेत्र के लिए। क्यों नहीं था, उसका जवाब वही दे सकती हैं, उसका जवाब मेरे पास नहीं है।
स्मृति जी, मैं क्यों ना कहूं, पहले भाई बहन माता जी, मतलब कांग्रेस मुक्त राजनीति बीजेपी का नारा है, आपका संभवतः परिवार मुक्त सियासत नारा है।
नहीं, मुझे लगता है कि शायद प्रभु की असीम कृपा रही है कि एक साधारण भारतीय जनता पार्टी का कार्यकर्ता क्या कर सकता है, उसका उदाहरण प्रस्तुत करने का मुझे अमेठी में सौभाग्य प्राप्त हुआ। क्योंकि जिनका आप उल्लेख कर रहे हैं उनकी ताजपोशी तो पैदाइशी है कि वो आए हैं साधारण कार्यकर्ता बनकर नहीं किसी राजनीतिक दल के, बल्कि सर्वोच्च नेता बनके। तो मेरी पार्टी ने मेरा ये सौभाग्य बढ़ाया कि हमने देश के सामने ये उदाहरण प्रस्तुत किया कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी का एक सरल साधारण कार्यकर्ता भी जनता के समर्थन से, जनता के आशीर्वाद से, सेवा भाव से सांसद की उपाधि प्राप्त कर सकता है।
24 में रायबरेली
मेरी पार्टी का संकल्प है कि 24 में हर वो सीट जहां पर हमारी पार्टी की ओर से विकास के काम हुए हैं, उस हर सीट पर भारतीय जनता पार्टी का कमल का फूल खिले। आपने क्योंकि दिशा समिति का उल्लेख किया, अमन जी मैं छोटा सा आपको गणित बताती हूँ। हमने धन्यवाद प्रस्ताव में ये कहा कि 21 लाख रायबरेली की जनता के वैक्सीनेशन की व्यवस्था देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी ने की। हमने ये कहा कि वहां पर उतने ही 5 लाख से ज्यादा परिवारों के लिए मुफ्त राशन का प्रावधान प्रधानमंत्री जी ने किया। ये धन्यवाद प्रस्ताव जिस दिशा समिति से उत्पन्न हुआ है,
एम्स के निर्माण 268,
ये धन्यवाद प्रस्ताव की विशेषता यह है कि इस प्रस्ताव में सभी सहभागी थे। मतलब उस मीटिंग में तब कांग्रेस और सपा के प्रतिनिधि भी उपस्थित थे
उस मीटिंग में
जी।
और वो मीटिंग पिछले 3 साल से नहीं हुई थी।
अब उसका तो मैं उसके ऊपर विश्लेषण नहीं करना चाहती, लेकिन धन्यवाद प्रस्ताव में ये सब सहभागी थे। लेकिन उसमें एक विशेष आंकड़ा है, 5 लाख टॉयलेट्स मोदी योगी की सरकार ने रायबरेली में बनवाए। तो जो इस सभागार में विशिष्ट अतिथि ताली बजा रहे हैं, उनसे एक गणित करवाना चाहूंगी। अगर प्रत्येक परिवार में आप 3 सदस्य भी जोड़ें तो इसका मतलब जहां पर गांधी परिवार का दबदबा 50 सालों से है, वहां पर 15 लाख नागरिकों के पास शौचालय तक नहीं था।
इस बार उत्तर प्रदेश में
बहन बेटे का हिसाब मैं क्या करूंगी, जनता करेगी।
तभी तो मैं कह रहा हूं, कांग्रेस मुक्त नारा बीजेपी का, आपका परिवार मुक्त सियासत। बहरहाल इस बार स्मृति ईरानी वर्सेस प्रियंका वाड्रा बहुत सक्रिय हैं उत्तर प्रदेश विधानसभा चुनावों में, हाथरस से लेकर
मुझे
लखीमपुर
लगता है
तक।
कि आपने अपने इस प्रस्ताव अथवा इस प्रश्न में ही एक बहुत बड़ा सच उजागर कर दिया कि चुनाव आया है इसलिए एक्टिव है।
आपको लगता है?
मुझे लगता नहीं, आपने भी बोला, आपने रिपोर्ट भी की।
राहुल जी कहां गायब हैं?
उसका जवाब आप मुझसे क्यों पूछ रहे हैं?
आप ही ने तो गायब कराया है।
मैंने गायब नहीं कराया, जनता ने कराया, जनता का अधिकार था। देखिए, आप रिश्तों की दुहाई देते थे एक राजनीतिक दल के नाते, लेकिन वो रिश्ता कैसा रिश्ता जो 15 लाख लोगों को एक शौचालय तक ना दे पाए। 5 लाख परिवार में शौचालय ना होना मतलब 5 लाख औरतों के पास शौचालय ना होना। वो रिश्ता कैसा रिश्ता जो एक मेडिकल कॉलेज ना दिलवा पाए। और अमन जी, मैं मेडिकल कॉलेज की बात विशेषता इसलिए कर रही हूं क्योंकि उस परिवार के ट्रस्ट ने अमेठी में 30 साल पहले भूमि अर्जित कर ली, प्रशासन से भूमि ले ली ये कहकर के हम मेडिकल कॉलेज बनाएंगे। 30 साल से उस भूमि पर कब्जा किए बैठे हैं, लेकिन मेडिकल कॉलेज नहीं बनाया। मोदी योगी की सरकार मेडिकल कॉलेज बना रही है। उस परिवार ने फाउंडेशन में, किसान ने जमीन थी कि फैक्ट्री लगा लो अमेठी में, जमीन को अपनी फाउंडेशन में ले ली। किसान कोर्ट में लड़ रहे हैं, वो किसानों के खिलाफ जाके कोर्ट में खड़े हो रहे हैं कि नहीं, हम जमीन को कब्जा करके रखेंगे। नहीं छोड़ी अमेठी की जमीन। तो आप उत्तर प्रदेश और देश की तो बाद में बात कीजिएगा, अमेठी का जो कड़वा सच है उसका जवाब उस परिवार को निश्चित देना पड़ेगा।
इस बार फिर से
कि आप अगर कलेक्टर का ऑफिस तक ना बनवा पाए, डिस्ट्रिक्ट अस्पताल में सीटी स्कैन की मशीन तक ना लगवा पाए, तो आपकी सत्ता जनता के किस काम की?
फिर वही सवाल, स्मृति ईरानी वर्सेस प्रियंका वाड्रा इस बार?
मेरा ये मानना है, मेरी पार्टी मुझे जो दायित्व देगी और उनकी पार्टी में जितना दमखम होगा, आए मैदान जंग में देखा जाएगा। लेकिन ये निश्चित है, ये फूल तो कमल का ही खिलेगा। हाथ कब का साफ हो चुका है।
मैं इसलिए आपसे बार बार सवाल पूछ रहा था क्योंकि प्रियंका वाड्रा बहुत सक्रिय नजर आ रही है। मैं हाथरस से लेकर लखीमपुर
फिर
तक
आप कह रहे
ग्राउंड पर
नजर आ रही हैं, नहीं बोल रहे।
लखीमपुर से लेकर हाथरस
मैं वही
ग्राउंड
कह रही
पर।
हूँ, आप कह रहे हैं नजर आ रही हैं, नहीं।
आपको नहीं नजर आ रही हूँ, सीरियस।
मैं वही कह रही हूँ कि एक राजनीतिक कार्यकर्ता का होना और मात्र नजर आना, उसमें बहुत फर्क है।
कोई चुनौती नहीं है प्रियंका वाड्रा उत्तर प्रदेश में?
मैं घमंड की राजनीति नहीं करती। मैं इतना जानती हूं कि हमारे पार्टी के माध्यम से विकास के कामों के आधार पर हम जनता के मध्य में जाकर वोट और उनका आशीर्वाद मांगेंगे।
जी।
मैं कभी इतना घमंड नहीं कर सकती कि बोलूं कि राजनीति में प्रवेश करने हेतु अथवा राजनीति में राजनीतिक जंग लड़ने हेतु कोई भी व्यक्ति अगर आए, उसका स्वागत है, क्योंकि निर्णय जनता करेगी। लेकिन प्रश्न ये उठता है, किस मंशा से आप राजनीति कर रहे हैं? क्या आप राजनीति इसलिए कर रहे हैं ताकि उत्तर प्रदेश का गौरव बढ़े, या इसलिए कर रहे हैं कि आपका अस्तित्व कायम रहे? इस प्रश्न का उत्तर उनको देना है, मुझे नहीं।
वो तो कह रही हैं कि मैं महिलाओं के सशक्तिकरण के लिए चुनाव लड़ रही हूं। उन्होंने नारा
जिन्होंने
दिया है,
5 लाख औरतों को अपने ही लोकसभा क्षेत्र में टॉयलेट बनाकर नहीं दिया।
उन्होंने नारा दिया, लड़की हूं लड़ सकती
मैं
हूं।
नारे की बात नहीं, क्योंकि घर पे लड़का है जो लड़ नहीं सकता है। और आप ये अपेक्षा करते हैं कि महिला है तो सिर्फ महिला के लिए राजनीति होनी चाहिए। विकास का काम पुरुषों के लिए नहीं होना चाहिए। पुरुष है तो सिर्फ पुरुषों के लिए काम करे। राजनीति और संविधान क्या कहता है कि आपको जब संवैधानिक दायित्व मिलता है, राजनीतिक दायित्व मिलता है, तो आप बिना पक्षपात के अपने दायित्व का निर्वहन करें। पहले वो जाति और धर्म के नाम पर पक्षपात करते थे, अब लिंग के नाम पर पक्षपात करते हैं। लेकिन पक्षपात करना वही उनका राजनीतिक स्वभाव है।
नहीं, लेकिन 40% टिकट महिलाओं को
नहीं, आप उल्टा देखिए, 60% टिकट वो महिलाओं को नहीं देना चाहती, ये उन्होंने ऐलान किया है।
राहुल गांधी कह रहे हैं कि मैं प्रधानमंत्री बनूंगा तो 33% महिला आरक्षण लागू करूंगा। 40%
जब
टिकट
थे,
महिलाओं को,
जब रिमोट उनके हाथ में था, तब क्यों नहीं किया? अब याद कीजिए, आज भी वो मंजर राज्यसभा में भारतीय जनता पार्टी विपक्ष में थी, यूपीए बिल पास नहीं कर पा रही थी। अरुण जेटली जी, भाजपा का नेतृत्व वहां खड़े होके हमने समर्थन करके पास कराया। जब उनके पास सत्ता थी, जब उनके पास रिमोट था, तब नहीं किया। लेकिन मैं फिर नारों से, स्टेटमेंट से दूर हटा के आपका ध्यान इंगित करना चाहूंगी सिर्फ एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी पे। आप देश छोड़ दीजिए, आप सिर्फ एक जगह देखिए जहां वो सतत 15 साल खुद सांसद रहे। आप इतिहास के पन्ने पलटिए, आपके चैनल के पास निश्चित रूप से ये फोटोग्राफ्स और वीडियोग्राफिक एविडेंस होगा। गांवों ने लड़कियों के लिए स्कूल बने, उसके लिए जमीन दी। वो जमीन अपने फाउंडेशन के नाम कर ली, और लड़कियां जब धरने पे उतरी तो उन लड़कियों को उठा के जेल भरवा दिया। और ये महिला सशक्तिकरण की बात करेंगे। टॉयलेट नहीं बना पाए, देश बनाएंगे।